There are some things I see with YouTube from time to time which absolutely amaze me. There are emails I receive from YouTube subscribers which absolutely amaze me. Well, this one is about an email. I received an email from a guy called Christopher, and it was entitled "A Net Zero Story That You Might Be Interested In." Have you ever heard of something called a constraint payment? Yes, constraint, as in don't do it. Neither had I until I read this email, and I'll fill you in what it means next. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel for the start of another week. Hope you're doing all right. Let me know in the comments below what you're up to and that you're all okay. That's the main thing. Well, we're all in a cost of living crisis, aren't we, where gas and electricity seem to be expensive, and I personally have reported on companies making billions of pounds worth of profit at our expense. Well, somebody sent me this email last week which I found very interesting about a concept called a constraint payment. Now what that means is you're paying somebody not to do something, and in this case it's paying people not to generate any electricity. That's correct, not to generate any electricity. Now listen to this. Hi Andy, the fast that is the reality of green power and net zero. In 2020, the Scottish Government paid £243 million to wind farm operators to not generate electricity. In 2021, the Scottish Government paid £107 million to wind farm operators to not generate electricity. Under a system called constraint payments, Scottish wind farm operators are being paid vast sums to not make electricity because the grid which transmits and distributes this power does not have enough capacity. There are some figures for 2022. He said in this initial email he hasn't got them, but he has since updated it. I'll read the rest of this email and then I'll give you the 2022 figures. No figures for 2022 yet, but to take it an average, it can probably be assumed that Scottish wind farm operators were paid roughly £150 million last year to switch off their turbines. So it's likely that £500 million has been paid to fat cat wind farm owners to not make electricity, to basically do nothing in the last 3 years. That £500 million could have put £1,700 into the pay packet of every nurse in the UK, some of whom are having to make use of food banks to sustain themselves. When you look at it like that, it's disgusting, isn't it? Meanwhile, a company named ESB Energy is trying to get permission to build a new 13-turbine, 50-megawatt wind farm south of Harwich in the Scottish borders. ESB wants to build their new wind farm in the middle of the Washoe Forest, which means chopping down healthy, living, CO2-consuming trees to make way for windmills, which will inevitably sit idle because the electricity grid is overloaded. There are references to all of this information, so you can see where it's coming from in the description for this video. Now, he sent me another one. Thanks for your interest in this story, Andy. I have the constraint payment figures for 2022. So the payment increased to £227 million, making a 3-year total of £570 million paid to wind farm operators to not generate electricity. That sum could have put £1,700 in the packet of every NHS nurse in the UK. Best of luck with this story. It's an outrage. It needs to be out there. I totally and utterly agree. I mean, you know, we're paying through the nose for gas and electricity, and it's the price of it everywhere else, isn't it? And are you telling me that there's wind farms off our shores that aren't being used to generate electricity because our grid can't handle it? Where did self-sufficiency come from? Paying people to not generate electricity. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go and build 20 windmills off the coast and then see if I can get some of the same. Absolute scandal, and it needs sharing, and people need to be made aware of this because it's disgusting. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know your comments below. I look forward to reading them, and maybe we'll have a read through at some point of the comments, which is something I didn't get to last week. Have a good one, folks. I'll see you soon with another. Toodaloo.